Hello, good evening, and welcome to the Virtual Racers Club. We are here at Suzuka. Fantastic track. God, that's louder than it should have been. Suzuka, one of my favourite tracks, here for the VRC GT4 Championship, Round 7. And I hear you say, Thingy, what is VRC GT4? Well, it's the ultimate GT4 championship. Drivers will race their pedigree sports cars at 10 different locations around the world. Each venue will host a variety of races, ranging from a series of breakneck sprints to strategy testing endurance races. And you guessed it. Well, you didn't guess it. You don't know. Surprise, surprise. We've got the sprints, the breakneck sprint races. 3 sprint races here at Suzuka. Good morning, sir, says Skyjacker in the chat. Why, hello, you early bird. Did you get the worm? That's what she said. And I am so up to date. I am so on the ball. So, yeah, this is a sprint race. 3 sprint races. They do a 10-minute qualifier beforehand. We'll look at the grid ASAP. The first race will be early morning. The second race will be afternoon. And it looks like there might be thundery storms forecast for the evening race. If it's pitch black, I am telling you, I'm going to brain someone. So the championship stands so far after 6 rounds. And remember, we had that amazing race at Nürburgring Nordschleife last time around. And let's see how that's affected the table. So, Homesick Alien is leading the championship by 321.5 points. And Talleyrand's chasing him down in the Ferrari in second on 279.5 points. Then we have Mayumi in third on 223 points. Fourth is Shiren on 198 points. Fifth is Jim 66 on 181.5 points. Then Matt Psycho.
Morning thingy. I needed you to start this 10 minutes later.
Oh no. Matt Psycho is 7th on 158 points, with Skyjacker 6th on 152 points. Ensign Ewer is 9th on 134.5 points, with the Baz in 8th on 101.5 points. Silver Star is 10th. What? Oh, they're a bit mixed. Did I say Ensign was in 9th with 134.5 points? Oh, have I been lackluster here? We had 5th at the gym on 181.5 points. Then 7th is Matt Psycho, on 158 points. 6th is Skyjacker on 152 points, with 9th going to Ensign Ewer on 134.5 points. 8th is Bazza on 101.5 points, with 10th being Silver Star with 97.5 points. 11th is Jokers on 80.5 points. 16th is Electric on 69.5 points, with Mrs. Guesty in 15th on 56 points. Racer Brown is 12th on 40 points, with Thingamajig 13th on 38 points. Group 14th with 23 points, and 17th goes to Digital Blasphemy on -3 points. I think that's a first in the VRC. I don't think anyone might have finished the championship on negative points. So Skyjacker, I already says good morning. Jim said, morning thingy. I needed you to start this 10 minutes later. Oh, and Jim says, I'll be on the train by then. I tell you, what can I say about Jim 66? I met him. I met the man, the legend, the myth. And I was amazed. He's as impressive in person as he is on the track, I tell thee. He is so impressive. We were watching live racing whilst he also was multitasking and watching endurance racing on his phone. The man cannot get enough racing. If he's not on track racing or at a track watching racing, he's watching racing on his phone. The man has racing coming out of every orifice. Right then, the grid. Let's have a look. So, let's see. 10th on the grid then is Matt Psycho. Must have been a cracking lap in his McLaren. 8th on the grid is Talleyrand in the Ferrari. second in the championship, chasing it down. 12th on the grid is Skyjacker in the Honda. First is Mayumi in the Lamborghini. I've used the joke now and I can just move on, can't I? Jim is next in the Aston Martin. And it's a pair of Aston Martins because Electric just behind him on the grid in the other Aston Martin. Then we have Sharon in the Porsche, and he's followed by a Big Dan in the Rich Energy Dodge Viper team. Coming up next, we have the Baz in the Nissan, and he's just ahead of Mrs. Guesty in the second Porsche. Looking down the road, we have Jokus's Lamborghini, and Silverstar in his Nissan follows him. So that is the grid. Shall we get on with a bit of racing? I think we should. All I can say is about the championship tables, proofreading. It's just beautiful. Right then, Matt Psycho on pole then in 10th, and Talleyrand just behind him in 12th. And it's a go here at Suzuka for the first of 3 sprint races, and Matt Psycho pulls away like a legend in the McLaren, but we know how strong the Ferrari is. Ferrari tucks in behind, he's going for the outside line now, and Matt Psycho gets it in that fast corner. You've got the Honda of Skyjacker just tucked up behind the top 2, making him part of the top 3. Then we have Mayumi in 4th spot as they make their way through up into the S's. Sharon in 5th. Electric has had an amazing start in the Aston Martin. Some say it's sluggish. Baz is up to 7th. Mrs. Guesty into 8th. Jim's dropped. Jim loves to drop a little. Big Dan also dropping, and someone's having a big off. Silverstar's lost his way. He's lost the track. Matt Psycho still leads from Talleyrand, but Talleyrand is adding the pressure now. He wants this win, whilst a Homesick Alien is away. The championship leader taking a break. And so Talleyrand needs and wishes to score maximum points. They're into the hairpin right now, and Matt Psycho is showing them all the rear of the McLaren. And Talleyrand and Skyjacker all hot on the pace. Electric now up into 4th. Sharon down into 5th. Baz is up to 6th. Who have we lost? Mayumi. And with damage also, Mayumi has come a cropper. He was sat in 4th, wasn't he? So Mayumi is now tucked up behind the other Lamborghini. And we are missing all the action. I could go back and look, but no one wants to look at their offs. Jimbo, they're in 9th, tucked up behind Mrs. Guesty. All sorts of action happening down here whilst we watch the leaders. Jim now trying to make his way through and back up the field. Big Dan in 7th. Bazza's up into 6th. Sharon 5th. Electric now in the Aston Martin, sitting in a pretty 4th place, but he's lost touch with the leaders. He's not that far away. Talleyrand's taken the lead. Oh, I'll go back for that because I think it's just happened. So Talleyrand looking to go around the outside, crowds Matt Psycho, gives him just enough room, and that is an overtake. Matt Psycho, though, doesn't want to give up on it. He's on the inside. Matt Psycho can nudge ahead as it's the power of the Ferrari down the straight. It's a drag race to turn 1. It could go either way. And Talleyrand trying just enough to close the door, but it's not closed enough. Matt Psycho putting his foot in the door, and it's Matt Psycho now in the lead. Unbelievable stuff. Skyjacker is right on the scene of the instant. He can get in there if these two go a cropper. And there you can see Electric and Sharon just in the background trying to catch this up, and as they're racing each other they may slow each other down. Skyjacker meanwhile sitting in pretty 3rd, and he's got a great view of the dice up ahead of him. I want to pull away. I want to look at the rest of the field. These three are so close together. Electric's a little bit alone. Sharon He's doing okay in 5th. Bazza's 6th. No threat yet. Big Dan's just behind him in 7th. Mayumi in 8th. Then we got Jim. Oh, Mayumi's made his way up. Lovely. Jim in 9th. Jokus in 10th. Mrs. Guesty in 11th. Silver Star. Let's get back to this lead battle then. And Matt Psycho's managed to pull away from Talleyrand somewhat. But Skyjacker, he's hungry. Like the wolf. Electric then 4th spot. And I think Shiren, he does look like he's eking closer to Electric. Big Dan, meanwhile, is up into 6th. Shiren, oh, Bazza must have dropped it. Bazza's down into 8th place now, behind Mayumi and Big Dan. So Bazza losing a couple of positions here at Suzuka, with Jim now in 9th, Joker's 10th, Mrs. Guesty in 11th, and Silver Star, he's lost the pack a little bit. Matt Psycho still leads, but now it looks like Talleyrand is going on the attack again, like he did at the end of the last lap. The Ferrari may be a little stronger at the end of the lap, as he seems to be able to get all over the back of Matt Psycho as they come into the chicane. Matt Psycho trying to keep the McLaren as wide as possible. Yeah, hang around with all day. And Matt Psycho then just ahead of the Ferrari of Talleyrand. Remember, Talleyrand will be wanting to score Maximo points here, whilst Homesick Alien is unable to attend. And Matt Psycho there breaking into the corner, and the Ferrari is hot to trot all over the back of him. Then we've got Skyjacker Electric still 4th, with Shiren in 5th, but Shiren has caught up the Aston Martin now, and Shiren is starting to apply even pressure on the back of the Aston Martin. Big Dan is 6th, with Mayumi in 7th. Big Dan trying to make the Viper as wide as possible to keep Mayumi at bay. Jim is up and into 8th. He's got himself past the Nissan of the Baz. My words, we're missing some action. Jokus there is 10th, with Mrs. Guesty in 11th, Silver Star in 12th. If these three weren't battling so hard, we wouldn't miss half the action down the field. And Electric's managed to pull away from the Porsche a little bit there, and he's good at the moment. Big Dan seems to be okay against the Mayumi. Yellow flag. Oh, Electric's dropped it. Shiren is up into 4th, and we'll have a quick look as we were close to the scene. Oh yeah, just on the curb, coming out of the hairpin, and Shiren giving him a love tap as he goes by. And Electric gets going again, just in front of the other Aston Martin. He's gone up 7th now. Baz has gone up to 8th, and Electric finds himself down in 9th. Not ideal, from 4th down to 9th, and he's got the Lambo of Jokus crawling all over the back of his car. He's got some dirty old wheels on that Aston Martin. He's sliding around, and Jokus there, he was very aggressive with that overtake against the Aston Martin that is wounded as it is. Mrs. Guesty staying with them in 11th, with a Silver Star trying to play catch up, and he does look like he's starting to get a view of the back of him. Skyjacker says we'll catch up with this later. Gotta go to work now. Enjoy. So Matt Psycho then still leads from Talleyrand, and Skyjacker starting to drop off of the lead 2 cars at the moment. Shiren in 4th, and Mayumi has made his way past Big Dan. Oh, okay, we're not seeing much of them. We'll try and catch 1 or 2 of them. That's right, wasn't too far away. So coming into 1:30, and Big Dan at the moment sitting pretty in 5th place. Mayumi though closing in, under braking there into the chicane. Big Dan looking very nervous on his brakes, and Mayumi, Mayumi just comes in like a force to be reckoned with, and wastes no time in getting past the Viper. And now Mayumi setting chase for the Porsche ahead. And Jim now up and into 7th, and he is catching Big Dan. So Big Dan trying to keep the Viper in between the white lines. And look at him, he's gone wide again. It looks like it's understeer city in that Dodge Viper, as Jim 66 hauls the Aston Martin up through the field like he does every race. in Baza in 8th with Electric 9th, and Jokus, so Electric's got back past Jokus, I believe. So Electric back up and into 9th, Joker's 10th, Mrs. Guesty right on the scene there, looking very competitive up against Jokus. Silver Star also doing some good lap times, trying to catch up those back couple of cars. Matt Psycho still leads from Talleyrand, and they are definitely leaving Skyjacker behind. And Shiren is in a comfortable 4th place, and he can see the leaders. Mayumi having an absolutely cracking race. He was in 4th, had some sort of off, and he's back in the field now. Back in the fight. Where are we? Nearly 8 minutes into the race. So what's this going to be? 7 laps possibly? Big Dan then still keeping sight of the Lambo in front. The Lambo looks, oh, I thought he was a bit wide there, but I think he was just over the curbs. Big Dan then chasing him down. Jim in 7th, 2:10 from Jim, a 2:11.2 from Big Dan, and Mayumi doing a 2:09.6. Unbelievable pace. At the moment, Matt Psycho's got the fastest lap with a 2:08.7. He still leads from Talleyrand and Skyjacker. Big Baz up to 6th, dropped to about 9th or something. He's back up into 8th place. But he's got Electric, who's rather rapid, chasing him down at the moment. The Aston Martin looking very tidy around the corners of Suzuka. Jokus, where are you? Oh, Jokus has had an off. Mrs. Guesty is going in for the kill. And there she goes, up into 10th, and Jokus down into 11th. Jokus struggling with the Lambo today, and Silverstar is on that straight as well. It's going to be tight. Matt Psycho and the Ferrari still bumper to bumper all the way on board with Talleyrand as he chases down Matt Psycho. Skyjacker a little dot in his rearview mirrors now. They have let Skyjacker go, it seems, and into the braking zone here. What is it, the Degmas or something? I can't remember. There goes the hop route as they enter the hairpin. And Talleyrand all up and in Matt Psycho's business there. I can hear Matt Psycho's engine. That's how close they are. And the McLaren looks glorious from behind. And now this is the move. He's trying to get up the inside. And I don't know, was there enough room there? Talleyrand taking the opportunity. Matt Psycho then now has to look at the Ferrari for a bit. We're 10 minutes into the race, lap 5. Skyjacker still there, still a threat, always a threat. Never forget of Skyjacker's threatness. And Matt Psycho's going for a move up the inside of 130. Yeah, they're going to go through it side by side virtually. And what a sight. Now Matt Psycho's on the outside. What can he do with that? Is he going to try and flip it through and underneath Talleyrand? He does not. He breaks a little more than Talleyrand in the chicane. And now Talleyrand has got a bit of thin air between himself and Matt Psycho. And for some reason, Skyjacker is on him. I said always a threat. Pulls out a 2:08 when Matt Psycho does a 2:11. And the Ferrari doing a 2:10. But the Ferrari, look at it, leaving them behind. Oh no, Talleyrand has gone on a detour, and now Matt Psycho back into the lead with Skyjacker, but Skyjacker finding this pace suddenly. On lap 6, his tyres have just warmed up. Shiren is in 4th place, and he's going to have to defend from Mayumi, is he not? No, Mayumi still some distance away from the Porsche, and it looks like Big Dan is edging Mayumi. Mayumi doing a 2:09.9. with Shiren doing a 2:10. Mayumi doing a 2:09 and Big Dan doing a 2:10. So does look like they're closer though. Jim is there as well, and these guys are coming up for a beautiful climatic finish, I can tell. The other Aston Martin now up into 8th ahead of the Baz. Mrs. Guesty still holding ground ahead of Jokus. Jokus is behind Silverstar now. So Jokus' race has gone from terrible to catastrophical. And the Ferrari is straight on the back of the Honda. You cannot hold this man down. Talleyrand then still in the fight. Remember, this is his moment. He needs the points against Homesick Alien. Matt Psycho seems to be struggling in the corner at the moment, and Skyjacker looking to get a move done off the inside. And Matt Psycho, there's just some corners, it just doesn't seem to want to work, that McLaren. And oh, it's three wide going towards 1 through at 30R, 2 wide with Talleyrand in the lead. And it's Talleyrand out wide. Skyjacker stays on the track. Talleyrand's back on the track. They're side by side going to the chicane. Oh my Jesus Lord God. And Talleyrand and Skyjacker swapping positions all the way through the chicane, side by side. It's a delicious. Take your time. And Matt Psycho is back on the bumper of the Skyjacker. He's pulled out. He's going long. He's going high. And it's 3 wide going down towards the first corner, but Talleyrand's still in the lead. But remember, his Ferrari is just not braking like it should be. He's going wide all the time. And Skyjacker then leads from Matt Psycho with Talleyrand now in third, and Shiren is getting closer and closer to that podium battle. Mayumi is in 5th, Jim 6th, with Big Dan chasing Jim down, but he just done a 2:14. Electric's dropped back as well, it seems. Oh no, Electric wasn't he in? I'm not sure. And Joker's still behind Silverstar, with Mrs. Guesty being caught by Silverstar. She may have to be careful, because Silverstar is closing in. Bazza then is in 9th, with Electric in 8th. Big Dan. Oh, Big Dan's been overtaken by Jim. Oh, was that a long time ago? Yeah, I can't flick that back, I reckon. And is he catching up Mayumi? Not quite. So far in the lead then Skyjacker, Matt Psycho still going at it. Hammer and Tong and Hammer. And Skyjacker at the moment still has the lead in the Honda. I think the Honda's already had a win this season. And he really is mixing it up there. And oh no, Matt Psycho's gone very wide. He's gone sideways. Oh, luckily he ghosted as Shiren got there. I think Talleyrand got a tap, but it barely nudged him. And Shiren looked like he was going to go straight into him. Mayumi then up into 4th, and Matt Psycho gets going again in 5th spot. And Jim there 6th, chasing down Matt Psycho. Fancies a piece of this, but the flag's going to be out. The flag's going to be out. Skyjacker's leading, but Talleyrand's going for one last attack on Skyjacker. Oh no, Talleyrand's made a mistake also. Talleyrand's got caught up in the chicane, and it looks like Shiren's going to come through and get 2nd spot. He's having a look around, trying to put himself on the inside. And the back end of the Ferrari just didn't like the curbs, and that's Shiren up. And here comes Skyjacker then to take the checkered flag, and a win for Skyjacker. Shiren gets 2nd place, and Talleyrand gets 3rd. Mayumi in 4th in the Lambo, with Matt Psycho bringing the McLaren just ahead of Jim 66. And Big Dan getting 7th. Electric gets 8th, with the Baz bringing his Nissan home for 9th spot. Against Mrs. Guesty in 10th, and Silverstar's made a mistake in the chicane, so Mrs. Guesty easily seals off number 10, with Silverstar coming home in 11th, and a race I imagine Jokus would rather forget, as it didn't go all his way from a good position as well, which is such a shame. Silverstar in the chat saying, good thing the FIA aren't...
That result isn't good for my championship position.
Aren't policing track limits for us. And Jim said, that result isn't good for my championship position. I want to try and keep 5th. Why, who've you got? Is it Mayumi chasing you down? Look at me. Look at me getting into it. All right, 5th for Jim. Oh yeah, Matt Psycho's chasing you, isn't he? And I think he's already dropped a round as well. He's dropped 2 rounds.
Skyjacker and Sean.
Oh, and Skyjacker. Jesus. Jesus, yes. No. And Sharon. So, yeah, no. Jim, although not a bad fifth. Or whatever he got. Sixth. It's the wrong people were ahead of him. So, Skyjacker. Lovely. See, that was worth it. Someone mentioned about me flicking back and forth to try and get a good picture. But that's worth it. Look at it. It's beautiful. Skyjacker gets a win. Great stuff for him. Sharon grabbing second, a surprising second, really. Was in fourth for a while. Talleyrand, take a boo, my son. Although third probably is a consolation for Talleyrand as he was fighting for the win just one lap before. Then Mayumi in fourth place. A good result for Mayumi as he had problems early on. Matt Psycho. Oh, poor Matt Psycho, the shame. Coming home in fifth with a spin, a couple of laps from the end. Jim 66, sixth place, but he's not happy. He's not happy with it. But that was nearly from the back, Jim. That's got to be something else. Big Dan in seventh in the Viper, with Electric in eighth, the Baz in ninth. Mrs. Guesty in 10th spot, with Silver Star coming home in 11th. And Jokus, like I said, a race he would probably rather forget. And it's Skyjacker that takes win one. Now we get on to the next race. I believe the weather's still pleasant for this race. Now, when it loads in, it tells you the results. If you don't want to know, don't look. I'll try and get the race started as quickly as possible. I don't even look over at that list. Right, hang on. I've got to do things. Boom. So here we go, starting for race 2 of the day. And look at the Porsche. Look at the little pocket rocket come off of the line, and it's Sharon into the lead ahead of Skyjacker, with Talleyrand in third, Mayumi fourth. Then we've got Matt Psycho fifth, Jim starting in sixth and holding sixth at the moment. Good stuff, but he's got the Nissan of the Baz right in there, with Silverstar going up into eighth, Joker's ninth as Big Dan has a slow start in the Viper in 10th, Mrs. Guesty losing a spot, and Electric losing all his spots, but he's back ahead of the Porsche and chasing after Big Dan. Sharon then leading the way, but Skyjacker is haranguing him all of the way, and Talleyrand has got a Lambo all up and in his business. So car 20, the Ferrari, the lone Ferrari this week here at Suzuka. Sharon looked a little wobbly going through that corner just ahead of Skyjacker. Skyjacker looking like he's going for the move. He's gone for the move. And yes, I thought I saw the Porsche looking a little squirrely, and Talleyrand having a look up the inside of the Porsche, but it just was not on. And Sharon maintains second, and Skyjacker is going to try and make as much distance between him and the rest of the field, whilst Sharon is in this... well, he's struggling at the moment, isn't he? The last couple of corners, it seems like he's struggling. The Ferrari all up and in his business, with Mayumi all down to race. And Matt Psycho in 5th place, trying to make amends for race 1. But there's 4 very fast people ahead of him. And he's got one right behind him as well in Jim 66. Bazza in 7th spot. Skyjacker then into 130R. He's wide, he's wide, he's wide. Sharon, and so's the Ferrari wide. But Matt Psycho has managed to get the move done on Mayumi. Sorry, Matt. Coming through, 130R. Mayumi out wide as well. And Matt Psycho staying within the lines and getting a position off of the Lambo. Jim 66 right there as well. And Sharon down to 3rd. Talleyrand is up and into 2nd spot now, with Skyjacker leading the way. And Talleyrand, we know that Ferrari is as fast as Blighty. Sharon then 3rd. He's under threat. He's 3 wide. with Matt Psycho, the Lambo, and Shiren. And it stays the same before they enter the corner. But Jim 66 means business in the Aston Martin. He's got the Baz behind him, but I think he's safe at the moment. And he's right in that fight. Look, top 6, all joggling for position. It's Skyjacker who's up ahead of all of them. And Talleyrand giving him grief with Shiren on the scene as well. Beautiful shot. I was wondering how long we could keep it going, but we couldn't keep it going. Electric's up into 8th already. Joker's 9th. Big Dan in 10th. Mrs. Guesty 11th. Silver Star and Mrs. Guesty have gapped out a little bit. And Big Dan fighting the Dodge as he fights the Lambo. And Electric on his way again to try and chase down that Nissan. Skyjacker still leading from Talleyrand. Shiren in 3rd. He's losing ground to the 2 ahead of him. Matt Psycho right there in 4th position with Mayumi in 5th and Jim 66 in 6th. Baz's 7th, Electric 8th, Joker's 9th, Big Dan in 10th. Big Dan looking to get the move done on Joker's very soon, and look at it, it's very tight. Talleyrand's taken the lead. Silver Star saying I went lawn mowing. And Talleyrand has taken the lead from Skyjacker as we're sat on board with Big Dan looking at the back of Joker's Lamborghini. And the Lambo's wide. The Lambo was wide. And Big Dan can see that Lambo has frailties. He's just got to stay on the program. Look, off again. And he's sliding around. This is the move for Big Dan. Big Dan's trying to fight Freddy through that little gap there between the Lambo and the wall, and he makes it stick. Big Dan up and into 9th place. Jokers gets in for the toe. Electric then in 8th with Bazza in 7th. Big Jim still in 6th. Mayumi 5th. Matt Psycho 4th. Look at the battle between Jim, Matt and Mayumi. It is taut. Shiren in 3rd. He's pulled a little gap out. And Skyjacker is lost ground to Talleyrand. Talleyrand is waving them goodbye. Bye-byes. And Skyjacker now has to defend from the Porsche as the McLaren tries to catch them up, and also defend from the Lamborghini. Jim 66 right in the action as well in the Aston Martin. Mayumi looks like he's getting ready to get a move done on Matt Psycho. He wants to get in front of the McLaren. Into the hairpin, no, and Matt Psycho goes in to defend. He's lost himself a little bit of time there, and Mayumi right on his tail as we come up and over the right-hander towards Spoon. And it's Talleyrand from Skyjacker, Shiren in 3rd, Matt Psycho in 4th. We're on top of Mayumi's Lamborghini as he tries to find a chink in Matt Psycho's armour. And Matt Psycho looks like he is definitely getting ready to pounce on Shiren. Shiren dropping back into the pack and losing Skyjacker, who's now going off to chase Talleyrand, hoping that the Ferrari's brakes go Pete Tong again like they did in the first sprint race. But at the moment Talleyrand under no pressure whatsoever, can pick what braking spot he wants. Shiren then finding he's got Matt Psycho and Mayumi all up and in his business. Jim in 6th, dropped off the tail of that battle. Oh, Shiren going defensive. Shiren going defensive early on against the McLaren. And it's Porsche, McLaren, Lamborghini at the moment. Oh, as Matt Psycho got the move done on Shiren, he's around the outside. When the camera catches it, we'll see. And Shiren's still there in 3rd spot. Matt Psycho fighting hard, and so is Mayumi. And it's a cracking little battle there. Oh, side by side with Mayumi and Matt Psycho. Matt Psycho's on the outside. Mayumi's going to get the line on the inside, and is he through? Is he through? He is. He's back ahead of Matt Psycho, but Matt Psycho's got the inside line. He's tried to turn in on him. Oh my words. He's kept it, Mayumi, and I think Matt Psycho may have lifted off there. Jim is right into the action as well, with the Baz on it, and Electric catching them up, and we are going to have at least, what, Mayumi, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cars in the action in the mid-pack. Jokers is in 9th, Big Dan 10th, Mrs. Guesty in 11th, and Silverstar. So Big Dan back behind Jokers. Jokers managed to get the Lambo back ahead of the Viper. Electric catching up with the Nissan of the Baz. Then we have Jim all up and in Matt Psycho's business. This is what he wants. Again, it's not the results he needs with those guys, Skyjacker and Sharon, finishing ahead of him. So he needs to get himself ahead of Matt Psycho. He has a look around the outside, but that McLaren is nimble through 130R. Indeedly doodly is. Then Sharon has pulled away from the Lamborghini a little bit. Skyjacker chasing down Talleyrand, but Talleyrand has said goodbye. Boy, he's just got the fastest lap. And he is absolutely flying at the moment. Skyjacker in 2nd, Sharon in 3rd. Then we have Mayumi in 4th, Matt Psycho in 5th place, Jim in 6th, with the Baz in 7th, Electric in 8th, Jokers in 9th. Look how close these guys are. We've been racing for 9 minutes. Big Dan is in 10th spot, Mrs. Guesty in 11th, with Silverstar in 12th. But it's Talleyrand at the moment. He needs maximum points. We said he needed the maximum points, and he is pushing on as hard as he can to gain them. So Talleyrand then leads from Skyjacker. Sharon trying to close in on Skyjacker. He's doing some good lap times. I think Skyjacker's just pushed it into the 09s, mid 09s, with Sharon doing early 210s. We're at 10 minutes into the race now, 5 minutes left. 2 more laps possibly after this one. Mayumi in 4th, he's left Matt Psycho behind. Matt Psycho can still feel the threat of Jim, with Bazza and Electric in a beautiful battle here. Let's get on board with Electric as he tries to close the gap down on the Nissan ahead of him, and the Nissan is chasing the Aston Martin. The Nissan's in a lovely Aston Martin sandwich. Electric, wow, he slams that wheel over as he goes through 130R. He's closing up on the Nissan. He's all up and in the business of the Nissan. He's hungry, he's Electric. He wants this position. The Baz knows how to race a car. He's staying up on the inside, and it looks like Electric is going to try and go around the Nissan in the first corner. And can he do it? He's a little bit off the line, but he's staying there. He's side by side. The Baz has got the inside line, and Electric had to yield there. He needed to stay on the track to survive another day. Talleyrand leads the race. He's pulled a lovely bit of distance out on Skyjacker, but Skyjacker is feeling the pressure from the Porsche that's just pulled a 209.027 out of his bum, and that is stunning stuff. Mayumi is 4th, with Matt Psycho in 5th, Jim 6th. So it's Sharon all up and in his business. Skyjacker in the chat saying arrived at work. We'll enjoy the rest of the stream before actually doing anything. Oh, that's it. Get a coffee, get your feet up, and enjoy the last 3 minutes of Sprint 2. And then we've got Sprint 3 to look forward to, which, remember, thunderstorms and at night, I think. So we're not going to see anything, but It's going to be an absolute classic race. Shiren really is piling on the pressure of Skyjacker. Skyjacker going around the outside of that corner. And no one can put a foot wrong because Mayumi is also bringing it. Talleyrand, steady run for him out in the front, no mistakes, just got to keep it on the grey stuff. Ooh, as I say, he cuts across the curb, but still all good in the hood. Shiren then still chipping away at Skyjacker, trying to find a weakness. Car 69 wants to get those points. And obviously in that battle with Jim, Mayumi also wanting some good points here. 4th place, Skyjacker going down the wall all the way, defensive as he possibly can. Comes back out to the racing line. Shiren trying to get the toe all the way as they take the speed into the first corner. And Shiren no closer to the Honda yet. Oh, Shiren really is starting to look feisty out there, and Skyjacker is having to defend like crazy. You can tell he's losing time to Talleyrand, and Shiren really is putting the works onto Skyjacker at the moment. Was there movement down? Big Dan and Electric, I think. But Shiren's going for the move now up the inside. And it's Shiren up into second, but Skyjacker's in the better line. And it's Skyjacker back ahead into second. And Shiren still looking at the back of the Honda as they end up to 130R now down here. I think Electric got himself past Big Dan. Big Dan doing some good lap times at the moment, but that Aston Martin is absolutely on fire. Yellow flag, yellow flag. Who is it? No! Is it Shiren? No, it's Jim. Oh, poor Jim. Jim on the push, trying to fight with Matt Psycho. Matt Psycho gets the fastest lap of the race, and he is closing in on Mayumi. It was Shiren. It was Shiren. Jim's moved up into 5th. Shiren, I'm so sorry, bud. That was delicious little battling. It was coming out the hairpin, wasn't it? Under pressure from Mayumi, trying to chase down Skyjacker, takes it through the hairpin, slams on that accelerator probably a little too early, and sends the Porsche careering into the wall. And that's Jim up into 5th, and he'll have a huge smile on his face because that is one of the contenders he is fighting with in this championship. And yeah, he'll be enjoying that. Skyjacker then, 2nd place, but it's not all clear running. We have got 30 seconds left on the clock, but Mayumi and Matt Psycho all queued up behind the Honda to take that 2nd place away. And Talleyrand flicking off the purples as he goes through 130R. And he's going to go for the fastest lap. Maximum points here is what he needs. He didn't get the win in the first race, but he most definitely is getting the win in this second race as he brings it around to cross the line. And it's a Ferrari win. Skyjacker gets 2nd place, and Mayumi, take a boo, my son, gets 3rd. Matt Psycho grabs 4th. Jim brings it over the line for 5th place. Shiren, 6th is a consolation prize, maybe. Electric, 7th, getting that move done on Big Dan later on in the race, who comes home in 8th. Jokus brings it home in 9th. Bazza's got problems. Bazza's going slow, and Jokus gets 9th from Bazza at the end there. Bazza just about getting across the line 10th, with Mrs. Guesty in 11th. Mrs. Guesty done some amazing lap times there to catch up with the Baz and Jokus at the end of the race. So Talleyrand takes the win in race 2 and the fastest lap right at the end there. Cheeky. Skyjacker getting 2nd place. It's turning into a good Suzuka for him. Mayumi gets that final podium position, and a great drive from him with lots of battling from everyone. Matt Psycho just missing out, best of the rest in 4th. Jim gains that 5th place as Shiren drops out of the podium on the final lap. And Shiren gets 6th with Electric in 7th. Had to have a comeback. Did Electric. Had a mistake in, the first corner, was it nearly? To the back, and he's had to fight his way through and got himself 7th in the end. The Viper just doesn't want to steer around Suzuka, and Big Dan is doing his best to keep that Viper on track. Joker struggling with the Lambo today. Not the pace we've seen from him usually. Sorry, the rabbit was running around like a lunatic, and I was just making sure there wasn't a fox or anything around. I'll be back on the programme. I think he's just having a little fun.
And the NSX have good history. I
Bloody
would have been
things.
disappointed if I didn't have at least one good race.
Jokers then gets a 9th place with the Baz in 10th. Don't know what happened to the Baz at the end there. I think he was going slow, it seemed. I don't know if he made a mistake. He did do a 2:26 on his final lap. Mrs. Guesty flying and grabs herself 11th. And Silverstar just about to cross the line for 12th spot in the chat then. Skyjack saying, me, Suzuka and the NSX have good history. I would have been disappointed if I didn't have at least one good race. Well, 2 good races so far. So let's let Silverstar cross the line for his 12th spot and have a look at the Ferrari, winning Ferrari, before it cuts out. Fantastic stuff. One more to go. 15-minute race around Suzuka in torrential conditions, I'm guessing. I haven't seen anything. Is that sprint 3? That is sprint 3. It looks rainy in the picture, the thumbnail. So we'll go to the replay. I'll have a sip of my drink. Refreshing. Don't look. I said that a bit late, didn't I?
It was duck weather.
Duck weather. So let me get, it's a rolling start for these guys, which is good in the rain. And it's Silverstar, it's a reverse grid. Silverstar's on the full wets. Mrs. Guesty on the full wets. I think they've all gone full wets, haven't they? Yeah, looks like it's a full wet all the way down. And that's Psycho, Mayumi, Skyjacker, Talleyrand at the back there. Do they all make it safely through the first corner? Because there's been so much action, I've sussed out by the 3rd race to sit at the back and just to see if everyone gets through. A lot of jostling for position. Silverstar still leading from Mrs. Guesty. Jim is losing out to Talleyrand there. Skyjacker also trying to get his way past the Aston Martins. Lots of action down the field. Electric then in 10th. Skyjacker is now up into 9th. Matt Psycho 8th. Mayumi is in 7th. There's some movement here. Big Dan is racing with Mayumi. Mayumi's getting through. Big Dan sliding around a little bit. Mayumi up, and Shiren there is in 6th spot. And it's the 2 Porsches. Mayumi's trying to find his way past. And Mayumi going up the inside of Mrs. Guesty. And that's Mayumi then up and into 4th place as he chases down the other Lambo of Jokers. Bazza goes for a move on the lead. Bazza takes the lead. The Nissan on Nissan action up at the front, but the Lambo's right there, and Bazza, they're all very ginger as they make their way around. And Mayumi then in 4th, Mrs. Guesty in 5th, Matt Psycho 6th. Where's Shiren gone? Skyjacker's up to 7th, Talleyrand 8th, Shiren's dropped down into 9th spot. Jim in 10th, Big Dan is 11th, and Electric is facing the wrong way, and it's not gone his way. So the Baz leads from Joker. So we've lost Silverstar. Silverstar's slipping. Silverstar's disappeared altogether. There he is. So Silverstar has had an issue as well as Electric. Electric's still not going. That might be software issues, it looks like. It looks like his wheel's busted. Something's not right there. He's not turning. So Bazza on his way with Jokers right there. And Mayumi is on the case. Look at the Lambo go as Jokers has a wiggle in his Lambo. And Mayumi then swiftly up the inside of his teammate. And the Baz still leads. And then it's, Matt Psycho's up to 4th already. Skyjacker's up to 5th. Shiren 6th. Talleyrand in 7th. As the rain shucks it down here at Suzuka. Mrs. Guesty in 8th, ahead of Jim in 9th. Jim looking to get the move done, not quite on the Porsche. Mrs. Guesty at the moment holding her ground. And Big Dan sliding around behind Jim 66. Big Dan trying to find some room to get through, but it's hard to jump 2 cars. So Big Dan kind of stuck where he is at the moment. And Jim going for the outside line on Mrs. Guesty. He's through. Jim 66 up and into 8th. Mrs. Guesty in 9th. Big Dan in 10th place. Silver Star in 11th. It's Bazza still leading from Jokers. Jokers is... I thought Mayumi had done Jokers, but no. Jokers back ahead of Mayumi, who slid it off wide. He's all right, though. He's got it under control. We saw that at Nürburgring with him, though, and he likes to slide it through the corners when it's wet. Scary stuff. Matt Psycho in 4th. Skyjacker 5th. Shiren is 6th. With Talleyrand 7th. Talleyrand then is looking at the back of the Porsche within 10ths. Skyjacker saying, go on, Baz. Silverstar said punted. Oh, right, hang on, I missed a few here. Silverstar says it was duck weather. Skyjacker said talent control system activated. Talleyrand is all up in Shiren's business. Joker's still ahead of Mayumi, which is good, and Baz has got himself a lovely little lead out there. He's got the wet tyres. He's just got to stay on the grey stuff, the wet grey stuff, and just keep it pointing the right way. Joker's the buffer from Mayumi, who seems to not be able to get up against his teammate again. Matt Psycho in 4th. Oh, and Jokers has made a mistake there. That's easily got to be a position for Mayumi. Catch up, cameraman. There we go. Mayumi then is up and into 2nd place now, as we saw Jokers go across the chicane. Matt Psycho in 4th spot. Skyjacker is in 5th. And he is now, what is he, getting attacked by Shiren? And looks like Shiren wants it. Shiren trying to get past the Honda. He can't quite get the movement done. Talleyrand is in 7th. Jim is 8th. Big Dan in 9th. Silverstar is 10th. And Mrs. Guesty in 11th. In the chat, Silverstar said punted. Joker's saying, go on, Baz. Silverstar saying, Baz is the man this race. He's doing good jobs. Good job from the Bazza. With Mayumi then ahead of Jokers. And Matt Psycho in 4th place. Skyjacker in 5th. And as he's on chat with the Baz, I imagine he's trying. Oh, and Shiren there under braking, exiting stage right, and Talleyrand moves up a position, and he's on the tail end of the Honda. And the Ferrari looking like it's got a little more traction coming out of the corners as Skyjacker fights him, beats him off. Matt Psycho then in 4th with Jokers in 3rd. Jokers still holding position ahead behind Mayumi, who's trying to chase the Baz down. We are nearly 7 minutes into this final sprint race, and Baz just sliding it through like a Don. Oh, Baz, don't scare me, man. Mayumi edging ever closer to the Nissan. Jokers there. The Lambos do well in the wet. Matt Psycho in 4th with Talleyrand 5th. He's got he's got past Skyjacker. He's got past Skyjacker. It was looking like he had the better traction from the two of them. They're coming up the hill here. And Talleyrand trying to draw alongside, up the inside, no, outside. of Spoon. They're both breaking mid-corner, but Talleyrand's just got a little extra. And he's through and up and into 5th place. Skyjacker in 6th. Matt Psycho 4th. Jokus in 3rd. Miyumi in 2nd. And the Baz there is leading the way. Just almost scared to look at the Baz. 7.5 minutes and Baza leads the race from Miyumi. Jokus in 3rd. Matt Psycho in 4th. Bit of a gap to Talleyrand in 5th. Skyjacker 6th. Then it's Jim 66 in 7th. Sharon in 8th. Big Dan in 9th. Silverstar is in 10th with Mrs. Guesty in 11th. Electric must have DNF'd. There must have been a problem with his wheel because he just didn't look like he could turn the damned car. And Miyumi now is just closing up on the big man Baz. And Bazza just keeping that car on those apexes, trying to keep it together. Miyumi getting the fastest lap of the race so far. And the Lambo looking very strong here in very wet conditions at Suzuka. And we are coming up to 8.5 minutes of this race. May even only be 6 laps in this one. Unique. To the braking zone they go. The Baz doing everything correct at the moment. And there can't be a commentator's curse on this because it's already happened. 2:34 for Baza last time, a 2:32, nearly 2 seconds faster is Miyumi at the moment. And Miyumi is just looking for a way past the Nissan. And Baza doesn't always look too hot in the Nissan this season, but at the moment he is leading like a boss. He is not taking any of Miyumi's crap, but Miyumi now trying to poke up the Lambo in the outside. Is it? Nice long shot there in Spoon. Oh, Baza looks like he's had to late break into Spoon. And Miyumi's up the inside. And it's the American in the lead now in the Lambo. And Baza then just has to concentrate and stay with the Lambo and hope the Nissan powerhouse can just absolutely cruise past the Lambo down the start straight. They're side by side coming up towards 130R. And the Lambo just ahead of the Nissan.
Commentator's curse spans all time and space. It knows no bounds.
It's like the TARDIS. So no, that comes out of yeah, Skyjacker was saying you should know by now. The commentator's curse spans all time and space. It knows no bounds. Yes, like the TARDIS. Time and relative dimensional space or something like that. So Miyumi leads from Baza. And it doesn't look like the Nissan can catch the Lambo up down the straight. Then we have the other Lambo of Jokus. A great race for Jokus, not mentioned really. Looked like he was really struggling in the dry here, but put a bit of moisture on the track, and he is on it. Matt Psycho in 4th in the McLaren. Skyjacker in 5th with Talleyrand in 6th. He's very wide though. He's very, very wide, and he's got Jim 66 chasing him down. And Jim would love that extra point. Sharon in 8th, Big Dan in 9th. Big Dan putting pressure on Sharon. This is a crazy race. Everyone's having it. Everyone's having it large. Miyumi still leads from Baza. And Jokus, look at the top 3. It's beautiful. An American, a Belgian, and a Polishman. At Japan. It's beautiful. Silverstar is in 10th ahead of Mrs. Guesty. Mrs. Guesty a little behind the pack, not enjoying the wet, I imagine. Miyumi still leading, but Baza isn't giving away anything, is he? Baza's right there, keeping that pressure on Miyumi. For Miyumi to try and get him to make a mistake. Anything. Baza to get the win. Jokus then in 3rd spot, and Matt Psycho 4th. We'll spanned out there. Skyjacker 5th with no one to bother him. And Talleyrand is has got Jim 66, but we know that Ferrari is quite pacey. And I think he's only in that position because he's made a mistake. And I don't know if Jim can get him on pure pace here. He's going to have to hope the Ferrari has a few issues. He's there though, he is there. Jim Shiren in 8th. Big Dan was catching Shiren up, but it looks like Shiren's pulled away from Big Dan now. Silver Star in 10th spot. And he's ahead of Mrs. Guesty there, who's in 11th in the beautiful looking Porsche. Miyumi then, Bazza, he's still there. It's not over. We're on lap 5. 13 minutes on the clock, so we're just starting the final lap now. And the Baz not giving up hope on the win. Chasing down the Lamborghini of Miyumi. Jokus in 3rd spot. Doing a cracking job. Matt Psycho cannot live with the Lamborghini in his McLaren. And Talleyrand, oh no, we've lost Skyjacker. Skyjacker must have had a huge one. Absolute huge. He's behind his mate Big Dan. And Skyjacker then, oh, Big Dan's had an off. Big Dan's had an off and Skyjacker's up a position. And this is great for Jim. He's ahead of all his competitors. And he's caught Talleyrand up. So Big Jim is going for big moves. He's already in 6th place because of Skyjacker dropping behind. And if he can get ahead of Talleyrand, that would be a huge bonus for him. Bazza, 2:33.9. His fastest lap he's done, a 2:33.3 from Miyumi last time around. Miyumi flashing up the purples come the end of the lap. And the Bazza setting chase. If Miyumi is chasing after that fastest lap, it may make a mistake. And Bazza might just yet get in with a chance. Jokus though, look at the driver. The Polishman is doing an absolutely fabulous job out there to get a podium. Matt Psycho in 4th spot with Talleyrand still under pressure from Jim 66. Shiren under pressure from Skyjacker, and they're all championship battles. Jim, Shiren and Skyjacker all in that mid-championship battle. And Skyjacker just can't get the moves done on Shiren. It's the final lap. How far away is Miyumi? He's just coming through 130R. He's throwing absolute caution to the wind. He already has the fastest lap as he brings it into the chicane. Very gingerly, I add, and comes around, and that's 3 different winners, isn't it? That's amazing. Great win from Miyumi. Well done, my friend. Bazza gets himself a glorious, glorious podium. Great stuff. And Jokus, you son of a gun, take a boo, my son. Matt Psycho gets best of the rest again, and Talleyrand is still ahead of Jim 66, and Talleyrand gets that 5th spot. Every point counts. And Jim gets 6th, but more importantly, he's ahead of Shiren and Skyjacker. Big Dan is next, even though I'm looking at Skyjacker for some reason. Oh, Big Dan and Shiren look like they were having a ding-dong. Let's go back a little bit. How far was this ding-dong going? So Shiren has made a mistake. It looks like Big Dan's had to take to the grass to get out of the way. Oh, what's Shiren waiting for? Did Shiren have problems with someone? That's weird. Maybe we should go back a little further to see why Shiren... Oh, there you go. That's what happened to Shiren. So Shiren just pushing. Maybe he was trying to go... No, he was 5 seconds down. And there he goes, sideways into 130R. Clash with the barrier. Back onto the track. Everything's okay. Oh, and there's Big Dan on site. Has to take to the grass. And Big Dan gets himself slightly ahead. Oh, they're both wiggling around. Big Dan trying to cling on to that 7th spot. He's sideways again. The Dodge just doesn't want to accelerate. And Shiren's there on the outside, but it looks like Shiren's going to get the 7th. Ahead of Big Dan in 8th. Skyjacker comes home in a 9th spot. Ahead of Silver Star that had a good comeback really if he got a massive punt in that race. And Mrs. Guesty bringing it gingerly around in the rain and doing a lot better than I could have done, I can tell you. In the rain around Suzuka, I don't know how anyone does it. So, oh, come on. It's Mayumi. No, I don't think we're going to get any better than that, unfortunately. So Mayumi gets the fastest lap and the win. So great stuff from the Lamborghini driver. Bazza, so close, so close. But second place is nothing to be snorted at. And a great finish from the Nissan driver. Jokas, great drive for a podium there. Brilliant stuff from the Polish driver. Matt Psycho gets fourth with Talleyrand in fifth spot. Jim gets himself a lovely sixth, ahead, more importantly, of Sharen and Skyjacker. Big Dan comes home in eighth in the Dodge Viper that doesn't like to go around corners, and Skyjacker getting ninth in the end. Silver Star in 10th, and like I said, Mrs. Guesty comes home in 11th. Oh, now I've got to find it again. So that's us all up to date. There is nothing else in the archives. I am on the schedule. And Silver Star saying the Viper is just a drift car. Lol. Yeah, that was the VRC GT4 Championship round 7. What a cracker. It's the last of the sprints. Where are we next? I'll tell you quick, if I can. We will be at Circuit de Barcelona. Hey, hola, mi amigo, soy thingy-majig. Mucho gusto. So, yeah, we're at Spain for the next round. I'm going to see if I can quickly get really fruity and tell you what kind of race it's going to be. I think I was on the right page in the first place. And it's going to be 2 feature races, 2 30-minute races around Catalunya. No chicane, just in case you're wondering. No chicane. And it's going to be an interesting championship indeed. Next stream, you will be seeing Tuesday night's racing of the GTMC. Hopefully tomorrow morning I'll be doing that. So it's fresh. You can still smell the rubber and fuel. After that, it'll be the VGT. So where's the GTMC? Shall we go all in here? Shall we try and go all in? GTMC next time will be from Road Atlanta, and that always kicks up a lovely battle. Those Group 3 cars are going to look feisty around there. Then the Vigit League, its final round is, I believe, Lassar. So we've got some cracking races coming up this week, and then we'll be rounding the week off with the GT4s. And I already told you where they are. Catalunya. I was your broadcaster and your commentator, Jen Tlewarts. Thank you very much for joining us here at the Virtual Racers Club. And we promote peace, world peace. That's what VRC is all about. We're really jumping on the bandwagon of world peace. So please spread your world peace everywhere. Just go around spreading world peace on behalf of the VRC, because we are strong on that. Nothing more to tell you. Thanks for joining us. It's always been a pleasure. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe, because YouTube gets really horny about that sort of thing. And if you want to make YouTube horny, then just hit that like and subscribe. Peace and love. Peace and love.